Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to use sends, cues, and the monitor section in Universal Audio's console software. For those interested in learning how to use Unison plugins, regular plugins, and these modifier buttons, see part 1 of our video series. Let's start by expanding the sends view. And let's also expose our aux buses by clicking the aux button on the right. Now, aux buses are particularly useful for time-based effects like reverb and delay, and should be limited to those types of effects. Let's start by just loading up a reverb in channel 1 and channel 2 in the insert slot. This isn't the best way of doing this, so we'll take these out. What we can do instead is use our aux bus. So we can load the same plugin and actually have both channel 1 and channel 2 sent to it. Now by default, our sends are going to be post fader and mute, which means that if you mute your channel strip or you turn your volume all the way down, you won't hear it. But you could change this to preset to pre-fader, which means it doesn't matter what you do with your volume on your channel strip. As long as your send signal is turned up and not muted, you'll hear the effect. Here's a demonstration. Channel 2 vocals. I am currently pre-fader, and I have the big ambience setting for my reverb. Now watch what happens if I mute the channel strip. Hello, hello. You could still hear the reverb. Now, what if I flip it to post fader? Hello, hello. The effect went away. So to get it back, I'm going to have to take my channel off mute. And now it's back. And of course, you can adjust your send level if you need less or more reverb. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. 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 Let's take a look at how we can record the effect in the aux return in our DAW. The global insert record button won't work here, but there are a couple things we can use. If we go to settings, we'll notice that our aux returns have inputs. Input 11 and 12 is aux 1 left and right, and input 13 and 14 is aux 2 left and right. So if we open up Logic Pro, we can actually set up our track to use these returns as our inputs. And since I'm on aux return 1, I will use aux return 1. So now when we record, upon playback, we should be able to hear the reverb effect on our vocal. Test 1, test 1. Do I hear reverb? Is there reverb on my vocal? This is a test. Test 1, test 1. Do I hear reverb? Is there reverb on my vocal? This is a test. Okay, great. So that works. Now there's also one other method we can use. Let's go back to console. In our plugin, if we go to the bottom and click the 3 dots, we can click on Copy Settings. Now let's go back to Logic Pro. What we can do in Logic Pro now, and I'll use a different vocal track here, is we can create a bus that we could send our vocal track to. In this case, I'll pick bus 6. And then if I open up our mixer, on this newly created bus, I can add our RealVerb Pro plugin. And then once it's open, I just go back to the bottom, click on the 3 dots again, and hit Paste Settings. And it updates our settings to what we had in console. So now all I have to do is turn up my send volume on my track, and then I could play my track, and we can listen to the playback and see what it sounds like. Today I'm going to show you how to use sends, cues, and the monitor section in Universal Audio's console software. And we can see that works also. Now let me show you how you could set up a cue in console. These are especially useful if you want to set up an independent headphone mix for a session musician who's doing a recording. Let's start by going to the Cue Outputs button. By default, these are set to mix, which would be the main monitor mix. If we look to the left, our cue section's here, and when main monitor mix is selected, these are inactive. If we deselect the mix button, now we have headphones selected here for our cue. You'll notice that our cue section here for each channel is now illuminated in purple, and we have independent volume faders and pan controls that we can use to set up our cue mix. As a starting point, you can come down here to the main mix on the channel, right click, and then select the cue that you want to go to. And then you can just fine tune it from there to get the mix that you want. Let me go ahead and show you how you could set up a cue in your DAW as well, if you have a pre-recorded track that you want to send over to the session musician. I'm going to do this in Logic Pro. Go ahead and pick the tracks that you want to send over, and then you're going to want to set up a send. And assign your cue outputs to the send. In my case, they're going to be outputs 9 and 10, which go to the headphones. We'll do that for each track we want to send over. What you're also going to do is make sure you set these to pre-fader. And then turn up your send level on each track you want to send to the cue mix. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap up with the monitor section. On the right side, we have our main output meters. Then we have the global insert effects button. So if you just want to listen to any plugins while you're recording, or if you actually want to print them to your track. Below that, we have the aux section, which we talked about earlier, our cue outputs, which we talked about, and now let's look at the control room. So when I hit this button, it exposes another menu, and this has a couple options for us. The first one is it lets us dim our main output by a dB rating of our choosing. So if you're listening to the playback of a track in your control room, you can actually dim the output by hitting the dim button, and in this case it's minus 20 dB. but you can change this to whatever you want. Below that we have a source, which lets us choose what we can send to the monitor outputs. We can either send the main monitor mix or a Q mix, like a headphone mix. To the right, we have our output control. If we wanted to, we can do a mono output instead of a stereo. You can mute the output altogether. And if you do that, your LED on this meter will turn red. So now you'll be muted, so you won't hear anything out of your studio monitors. This little indication here lets you know that you actually have monitors selected on your interface. So if you see this little LED, it's telling you that you do have monitors selected on your interface. One other thing I wanted to mention is that you can actually save your console session. So if you like the way that your mix is set up and you like your plugins, just come over here on the top left, click in here, give it a name, and hit save. And now you'll be able to recall it for future sessions. Guys, thanks for checking out this video today. If you got value out of it, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. For those of you who are new to Apollo Twin, check out my brand new Apollo Twin cheat sheet that you can find the link in the description below. So click that link and get your cheat sheet today. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.